Consumer Reports just released their newest motorcycle rankings, and 6 models scored so high they are calling them nearly perfect. Premium touring brands did not crack the top spots. The bike at number 1 is one riders walk right past in the showroom. Let's start with the bike that stunned me the most. A model that looks almost boring at first glance, but hides some of the wildest durability data Consumer Reports has ever published on 2 wheels. The Suzuki DR650. This thing isn't reliable, it's indestructible. Consumer Reports slapped a 93 on the DR650, but honestly, no number captures what this bike has survived. Riders have taken it through Baja desert heat, Alaskan gravel, and enough dropped bike abuse to total most adventure machines in an afternoon, and the DR650 barely notices. I spent years turning wrenches on air-cooled singles, and most of them eventually punish you with valve clatter or overheating on long climbs. The DR650 never did. Suzuki kept the architecture nearly unchanged for decades, refining tolerances instead of chasing new features. And that restraint is exactly why the bottom end still holds up past 100,000 miles on stock internals. What makes this bike so durable is actually what Suzuki left off it. No ride-by-wire throttle, no adjustable electronic suspension, no sensor-loaded dash to fail in the rain. Fewer parts means fewer failures, and you feel that philosophy everywhere on this bike. The frame is simple tube steel, not exotic alloy, and the suspension components are oversized for the bike's weight class, built like Suzuki expected people to actually ride it through rocks and ruts, not just park it at a trailhead for photos. Financially, it's just as impressive. A well-kept DR650 holds resale value that embarrasses some adventure bikes costing 3 times as much, because buyers know exactly what they're getting. A bike that starts every single time. Even the carburetor, long since abandoned by rivals chasing fuel injection, keeps things serviceable with basic hand tools anywhere in the world, which matters enormously for riders who take this bike somewhere a dealership can't reach them. But as tough as the DR650 is, the next bike didn't just survive brutal testing, it buried every expectation about what a technology-heavy touring machine should be. This one has so much electronics packed into it, it should be a reliability nightmare. Instead, it ranks nearly perfect. The Honda Goldwing. This bike carries more computing power than some cars, so why does it score so high? Consumer Reports gave the current Goldwing an unbelievable 94, and if you look at the feature list, that number shouldn't even be close. It's loaded with adaptive suspension that adjusts constantly, a 7-inch touchscreen, airbag deployment hardware, and enough wiring to intimidate most dealership technicians. By every rule of mechanical logic, this should be a rolling software glitch. But here's the twist. Honda didn't rush the current platform. Engineers spent an extra development cycle specifically hunting down failure points in the electronics harness before the bike ever reached a showroom floor, rerouting connectors away from heat sources that had caused intermittent faults on earlier prototypes. The Hybrid Assist DCT transmission, borrowed and refined from Honda's most dependable automotive gearboxes, shifts hundreds of thousands of times without the clutch wear that plagues manual touring bikes ridden 2-up with luggage. Owners are finding the electronics barely degrade even after tens of thousands of miles of daily commuting and cross-country touring combined. Inside, the cockpit feels more small aircraft than motorcycle. Composite panels that don't rattle loose, switchgear that doesn't fade or stick after years in the sun. It's a touring bike that ages gracefully instead of accumulating the electrical gremlins riders expect from anything this complex. Even the airbag system, one of the most litigated components on any premium motorcycle, has posted a spotless deployment record across the current generation, largely because Honda borrowed the sensor calibration logic from automotive-grade hardware, rather than building something from scratch just for 2 wheels. And if you thought that level of reliability in a tech-heavy tourer was impressive, wait until you see what Yamaha did next. because the next bike breaks every rule of the adventure segment and puts most three-cylinder rivals to shame. The Yamaha Tenere 700. Adventure bikes usually break early once you actually take them off pavement, but this one became the exception. Consumer Reports gave the Tenere 700 a staggering 96, and once you understand how Yamaha built it, that number almost feels low. Instead of chasing a bigger engine or reinventing the platform, Yamaha did something smarter. They scaled up the proven CP2 parallel twin already running in the MT's 07, a powertrain with millions of real-world miles behind it in commuter bikes worldwide. No experimental parts, no new for this year engineering risks, just rock-solid components refined for years before Yamaha ever asked them to survive rally raid conditions. We're several years into this generation now, and there still isn't a single significant recurring failure pattern. Check the forums, check the recall history. It's practically empty, which is unheard of for any adventure bike carrying this kind of off-road stress load. Part of the secret is Yamaha's testing regime. Every Tenere 700 crank and clutch assembly goes through extended dyno cycles simulating years of abuse before a single unit reaches a dealership. Real diagnostic sweeps, not someone eyeballing a weld and calling it done. Financially, it's just as impressive. Most adventure bikes fall off a depreciation cliff once the novelty wears off, but the Tenere 700 holds resale value that rivals bikes costing twice as much, all while returning fuel economy in the mid-50s and shrugging off gravel, sand, and washboard roads that would rattle lesser machines apart. Even the airbox and intake routing were positioned specifically to survive water crossings that would drown a less carefully engineered adventure platform, a detail riders only appreciate the first time they misjudge a river ford, and the engine simply keeps running. But not everyone needs a full adventure platform, and that's where the next bike quietly dominates. It doesn't make headlines, it doesn't flex its tech specs, and yet it just keeps outperforming almost everything in its class year after year, the Honda CB500X. This bike should have been on everyone's list from the start because it's the definition of quiet excellence. Nothing flashy, nothing dramatic, just dependable engineering wrapped in an approachable middleweight package. Consumer Reports gave it one of the highest reliability scores in its entire segment, and honestly, that didn't surprise me at all. Honda took the parallel twin they've been refining for over a decade and built this bike like they expected it to hit 150,000 miles without breaking a sweat. What makes the CB500X special is how consistently boring its ownership reports are. Owners report 0 major failures through years of production, no clutch problems, no charging faults, no electronic gremlins creeping in around the 30,000-mile mark like on flashier competitors. The engine barely works hard even at highway speeds, which means it rarely runs anywhere near the kind of stress that shortens component life. Mechanics appreciate the simplicity too. No gimmick electronics, no fragile ride mode sensors bolted on just to compete on a spec sheet. Fuel economy sits in the high 60s without even trying, which means this bike essentially pays for itself in saved gas money long before the warranty runs out. Resale value mirrors Yamaha and Suzuki territory, making it one of the cheapest bikes in the country to own for the long haul. Honda also kept the valve adjustment intervals unusually generous on this engine, a detail that quietly saves owners hundreds of dollars in service costs over a typical ownership period compared to sportier middleweights that demand attention every few thousand miles. Still, even the CB500X has a rival it can't quite outrun, a bike that's been the quiet workhorse of the sport touring segment for years. This next one has resale value so strong, it might as well be printed on gold. The Suzuki V-Strom 650. This is the bike everyone forgets to mention until you sit down with the actual reliability data, and then the whole room goes quiet. It's the workhorse of the entire mid-size touring category, and it absolutely deserves a place next to the DR650, Tenere 700, and CB500X on this list. Consumer Reports consistently ranks the V-Strom 650 as one of the most reliable motorcycles sold in America, and the numbers back it up. Years into its production cycle, and there still isn't a single repeating pattern of major mechanical failure. No clutch complaints, no fueling issues, no electrical disasters, just boring, predictable durability, the kind mechanics secretly love. What makes this bike so unstoppable is the powertrain. Suzuki didn't design it to chase acceleration numbers, they designed it to run forever. The V-twin is pulled straight from Suzuki's proven parts bin of bulletproof architecture, the same core DNA used in bikes that rack up six-figure mileage as daily commuters overseas. Owners regularly report fuel economy in the mid-50s, even loaded with luggage, a passenger, and camping gear. And unlike some of its rivals, the drivetrain barely wears. Riders have logged well past 150,000 miles, still running the original clutch and final drive. The financial picture is just as strong. The V-Strom 650 holds resale value right next to the Tenere 700, embarrassing half the premium touring segment, which means you're essentially paying mainstream prices for a bike that behaves like a long-term investment. The fairing and handguards also shield the wiring harness and connectors from road spray far better than naked alternatives in the same class, which matters enormously to owners who commute through genuine winter conditions rather than fair weather Sunday rides. But now we step into true resurrection territory, because the next bike didn't just outperform the competition, it revived an entire brand's reputation. This one shocked every reviewer and even its own dealerships. The Indian Roadmaster. Indian was on life support for years, then the Roadmaster shocked everyone. Consumer Reports hit it with a 97, a score usually reserved for machines that basically refuse to break. And here's what caught me completely off guard. This isn't just a fancier version of an older Indian platform. It shares some heritage, sure, but the engineering underneath couldn't be more different. Indian rebuilt everything that matters: the suspension geometry, the charging system architecture, the sound insulation around the engine bay. It felt like they were trying to prove something to the entire American touring segment. The first time you ride one, you feel it immediately. The vibration damping isn't just improved, it's engineered into the frame itself, the mounts, the floorboards, every contact point built to absorb the big V-twin's pulses before they ever reach the rider. The electronics are refined and surprisingly trouble-free, something I genuinely can't say for half the premium touring bikes I see come through a service bay. And the chassis tuning, this is where Indian went all in. Engineers spent well over a year perfecting the suspension calibration alone, while most manufacturers spend a few months and call it finished. Indian wasn't satisfied until this bike rode like a luxury sedan on two wheels and handled like it weighed far less than it does. What really impresses owners is how little maintenance the Roadmaster demands. You bring it in for oil changes, belt inspections, and that's essentially the whole story. Indian was confident enough in what they built that they extended coverage well beyond the industry standard, not as damage control, but as a statement. Owners crossing the country two up with a full complement of luggage report the charging system, handling heated gear, navigation, and audio simultaneously without the voltage sag that used to plague loaded touring bikes on long highway stretches after dark. None of this means every motorcycle in these categories is automatically bulletproof, or that a high Consumer Reports score guarantees a maintenance-free ownership experience. Older generations of several of these platforms carried real issues. Carbureted DR650s from decades back had cold start quirks, and early gold wing electronics suffered connector faults that Honda has since redesigned entirely. These six represent the current or recently refined generation, built after those lessons were already learned. It's also worth being honest about trade-offs. The DR650 and CB500X sacrifice comfort and wind protection for simplicity. So long highway hauls will wear you down faster than on the Goldwing or Roadmaster. And premium touring bikes like the Roadmaster come with premium parts pricing, so even a reliable bike costs more to maintain over its lifetime than a Suzuki or Honda equivalent. These 6 bikes prove something the industry never wants you to figure out. Reliability isn't an accident, it isn't luck, it's engineered. The brands landing at the top of these rankings don't get there by chasing touchscreen trends or flashy marketing. They get there by building machines that stay solid at 100,000 miles, not just shiny at 10,000. Smart money buys engineering, not branding. Tell me in the comments which of these 6 surprised you most and which one you are adding to your garage. Hit like if this helped you dodge a bad purchase and subscribe for updates manufacturers wish you would ignore.